Hey everybody, Cooper here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 on our 2021 Nissan Rogue. Our rack is going to be a platform style bike rack, able to accommodate up to 2 bikes, individually weight rated at 60 pounds each, which means that our heavier e-bikes are going to be an available fit for this rack. Our 2 main points of contact are going to be a ratcheting hook on our front tire and a wheel clamp here on our back tire. Since we're making no frame contact, our alternative frame bikes as well as our carbon frame bikes are also going to be options here. So overall, it accommodates a lot of different bikes. One really nice feature about the NV 2.0 is that we have this tilt-away feature. By engaging this lever that kind of sits here in the middle of our rack, pulling it towards us, we can gently tilt our rack away, which allows us full hatch access here. The one thing you do want to kind of be aware of is while it doesn't get close to the pedal, it just might be something that concerns you, but it does pass the ride perfectly fine. Now, whether we're keeping our helmet, shoes, or maybe a snack for after our ride back here, we have that total hatch access, and even have a place to sit down for afterwards. In order to put it back up in that turning mode, we do want to make sure we are making contact with our frame. With this, you do want to be careful because the button for our hook does push in, the same way we're going to be pushing our rack. So make sure you hold it maybe a little bit lower down, and then kind of bend down, grab the rack by the middle, and then lift until you hear it in that clicking spot. And then we are back in this configuration. Now, taking a look at our handlebars real quick, we can see that while there is a lot of space here, and we did do a little bit of a shake test, we didn't make any contact, but just to be aware that if you had something more like those curved handlebars, that might be a problem with this rack and on your Rogue. To start the process of unloading our bike, we're just going to press our gray button here, which frees up our rubber strap. Just feed that through the other side of our tire. Go ahead and fold that out of the way. Then as we come to our front tire, we can see our hook here, which is our main point of contact. Now before you press the button, you want to make sure that you are holding onto your bike, because as soon as we release this hook here, all we have the weight transferred from our hook and our rack all to us. So we're going to go ahead and fold that down out of the way. And now with both those points of contact off, we can go ahead and lift our bike off, and now we're ready to go. As we fold our rack up a little bit, we can see that on our front cradle here, it is really wide, and our front cradle can actually accommodate up to a 5-inch tire width. But here on our back rubber strap, it can only accommodate up to a 3-inch tire width. That's why the Kuat NV 2.0 does come with a fat tire adapter, so if you need to carry around something like one of those big fat tire 5 inches, we can put our adapter onto our back strap and then accommodate for that. Taking a look at our back tray, we can see that our rubber strap is going to be able to move up and down the tray, which helps us accommodate up to a maximum wheelbase size of 50 inches. Also on the rear wheel side of our bike rack, we can see that we have an integrated cable lock for the NV 2.0, which is just a really nice feature so that way you don't have to worry about forgetting it if your rack doesn't come with one. It just integrates itself right into the rack. Now if you don't have any bikes on your rack, we can actually fold this up into a more compact configuration. We're simply just going to pull that same lever that we used to tilt away, and instead push it towards our vehicle to fold it up into our more compact configuration. Here we can see that we have a totally unobstructed view of our back window, our tail lights, and we're even going to be able to use our backup camera. While you might see the rack in the backup camera, we're going to see past it because of how high it sits up to anything else that might be behind our vehicle. And our license plate is totally unobstructed as well. The only thing that's going to happen is if you are in that reverse function, because of how close our rack does sit to our bumper, our sensors are going to be going off. Another important thing to note, especially with the Rogue here, is seeing how close that this hook really sits to our bumper. While it isn't loose by any means, and you might have to take some force to make it engage with that bumper, an option would be to do something like move our strap over here and thread it through the hook just to help hold it back so that way we aren't making a contact with our bumper. A really unique feature about the NV 2.0 is that we do have an integrated bike stand. So if we just go ahead and flip this lever out, we can go ahead and lift and rotate our bike repair stand here. Note that this does come all the way out, so be careful with how hard you are lifting out. But once we're at our desired height, lock that back into place, turn our knob here, and we can see that we have a frame point contact for our bike to hang it to make any sort of adjustments that we need to before or after our ride. Anytime we add something into our hitch, we are going to be adding on length to our vehicle. But how much length exactly? Well, by putting our tape measure on our back bumper and seeing how far it comes out, we can see that it sits about 13 inches off the bumper of our vehicle. And this is just an important measurement to know in case you plan on trying to fit this into your garage or a tight space maybe, to seeing if you can fit all that space in your garage. Of course, this configuration is going to be when you don't have any bikes on. So by pulling our lever again and coming down into our folded down position, putting our tape measure back on, we can see that we are sticking out about 28 inches in this configuration, which again is just important to know in case you find yourself trying to fit any tight spaces or maybe even changing lanes on the highway, just know how much additional length you've added onto the back of your vehicle. The last measurement we're going to talk about is ground clearance, and by taking a look at the lowest point, we can see that we're sitting 20 inches off the ground, which means that I'm not really too worried about if we're making any ground contact by going up any sharp inclines or parking in any driveways. Because of that shank rise that we have, means that's pretty safe. Taking a little bit closer look at our hitch, we are going to have a 2-inch shank that's going to fit inside our 2-inch receiver, a pin that has a lock core at the end. Then that core is going to be key-to-like to those cable locks that we saw earlier, so the same key is going to help for your bikes and your bike rack. Moving back a little bit, we are going to see that we have an anti-rattle knob here, which means that we are going to have a completely toolless system here when installing our rack, which is just a nice additional little bonus. Overall, I do think that the Kuat NV 2.0 is a really good bike rack. It has a lot of really cool features that are really nice. If you're looking for something very similar, but maybe don't need the bike repair stand, Kuat does have something called the NV Base that is essentially the same bike rack, but just without the bike repair stand, and it's just a little bit more affordable too. But I do think that it is a very premium bike rack with very premium features. So if that's something you're looking for, I would have no problem highly recommending it to you. And we saw it here today on our 2021 Nissan Rogue. Thanks for watching.